What's the true value of the iPad brand name? We got Don Clark from the Wall Street Journal in San Francisco, and there he is. Hey Don, thanks for being there. We really appreciate this. So it's I see two numbers here, and one of them is very small, £35,000, which is about $55,000, and the other one is an enormous number, a couple of $1 billion. Which is it? Which is the right number?
I mean, this is what you've heard of buyer's remorse. This might be what you might call seller's remorse. You know, when the Proview got its initial £35,000 over in China from Apple for this name, they might have thought they cut a pretty good deal. You know, a couple years later, where the iPad is one of the biggest products in the world, it doesn't seem like such a big deal. So they're trying to get some more money out of Apple for it.
And are they going to win? Are they going to win this battle to get this more money, or is Apple going to drag them through the courts and just slow this down immensely?
Well, you have to understand the Chinese courts, which I do not. So I will just kind of talk as if this was a U.S. court. Generally what happens is, you know, people battle for a while in the court and they get tired of it, and then Apple writes a settlement check. I mean, that would be sort of what I would think would happen. But exactly, you know, how the Chinese courts will work here and how long this could drag out, I can't really say very well. But it's kind of like who has the upper hand. I mean, Apple wants to keep selling in China. On the other hand, if they were to cut orders for all the Chinese factories for the iPad because of this, that could hurt Chinese workers and things like that. So there's various scenarios of who's got the upper hand and where the pressure lies you could think about.
Don, what's Proview arguing in terms of why they're entitled to more? I mean, do they argue that they were misled about the value of it? I mean, it seems arbitrary to put a value on it anyway.
Well, I think there's a couple of different ways that argument could lie. I think one is that they're arguing, I think, that they sold more narrow rights than Apple does. I mean, I think that you know, the question is, does the contracts really, you know, cover all of China, that sort of thing? We can argue about that, or they will be arguing about that. The other issue I think may appear is whether Apple purchased these rights through some sort of intermediary company. This often happens when the buyer doesn't want the seller to know who it really is, or they might charge more. I think Apple did use an intermediary in this case, so that may also come up as an issue in the court.
Yeah, and maybe they'll just think of a new name. Maybe they should have a competition online for a new name for the iPad and just call it something different, you know.
Exactly.
And then that would solve a lot of the problems. You know, I know Apple's watching. Tim Cook, when Jessica next talks to Tim Cook, suggested to him from the Digits people.
I think they're pretty fond of the brand, actually, particularly in China right now. So, I mean, this has got to be a sensitive topic for them, for sure.
I bet it is, and we got to leave it there. Don Clark out in San Francisco, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We got to leave it there.